Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are shifting gears a little.
We are.
We're putting on our lab coats and stepping into what I'm officially calling the deep dive lab.
I like the sound of that.
Because if you look at the calendar, you know exactly what's coming up.
Oh, yes.
Valentine's Day is creeping up on us like a deadline you completely forgot about.
It is indeed. The season of red roses, expensive chocolates, and some very high expectations.
Exactly. And it's a polarizing time. For every couple planning a romantic dinner, there's someone else just sitting in their room staring at a phone that will not ring.
Listening to sad music on repeat.
On repeat. And you know the vibe. In Vietnam, we have, like, the ultimate cultural touch point for this feeling. You know the song Tin Don Phuong by Dan Trong?
Oh, absolutely. It's the national anthem of one-sided love. I think it's biologically impossible to grow up in Vietnam and not know the words Tin Yu Jin Hung La Sin Yu Bun.
Unrequited love is a sad love. It's a classic. And I mean, have you even lived if you haven't dramatically lip-synced to that song while looking out a rainy window?
I think we've all had our Dan Trong moments.
Right. But here's the thing, and this is why we're doing this deep dive. We treat that feeling, that Tin Don Phuong, like it's just a mood. Like we're just being dramatic.
Or simping, as they say now.
Yeah, exactly. But the stack of research you've brought today, it suggests something totally different. We're going to show that this heartbreak isn't just poetry, it's biology.
That is the mission today. We're going to decode exactly why we fall for people who don't love us back, what's physically happening inside your brain when that happens, and
this is the big one.
And who actually suffers more? Is it the person in love or the person saying no?
And we have a massive wow fact coming up on the gender gap.
Yeah.
If you think you know whether men or women get their hearts broken more, I promise the data is going to flip that on its head. So let's unpack this.
Let's get into the lab.
Okay, first up, let's define our terms. Because I feel like we use words like obsession, crush, or love pretty loosely. But in the psychology papers, there's a very specific distinction, isn't there?
There is. If we look at the research, specifically the foundational work of Dorothy Tenoff from 1979.
Okay.
What we're often describing isn't just love. She coined a term for it, limerence.
Limerence. It sounds like a fragrance. Or a disease. Sorry, I can't come in. I have a bad case of limerence.
Well, in a way, the symptoms are kind of clinical. Tenoff wanted to separate this from what she called mature love.
And mature love is what? Mutual.
Exactly. It's care, deep commitment, reciprocity. Limerence is different.
Yeah.
She calls it an involuntary, intrusive state.
Intrusive is a strong word.
It's accurate, though. It's that feeling where you just cannot stop thinking about the person. You're trying to work, trying to sleep, but your brain just keeps getting hijacked.
Okay, so it's that can't eat, can't sleep phase. But isn't that just falling in love?
It can be. But the defining feature of limerence is an acute need for reciprocation. Tenoff calls it mood dependency.
Mood dependency. That sounds bad.
It is. Your entire emotional state hinges on what they do. If they smile at you, you're on top of the world.
Right.
But if they leave you on read, you just crash into this pit of despair. You've handed over the remote control for your feelings to someone else.
That sounds exhausting. So why do we do it? Why do we obsess more over the person who's ignoring us? It's completely illogical.
This is where it gets really interesting. And it kind of explains why playing hard to get actually works, scientifically speaking.
Well, I hate that it works.
Me too. Tenoff have found that uncertainty is the fuel for limerence.
Uncertainty makes it stronger?
Yeah.
I would think knowing for sure would make you feel better.
It would make you feel better, but it wouldn't make you obsess. Think of it like a slot machine. This is a classic behavioral psychology idea.
Okay.
If you walked up to a slot machine, pulled the lever, and won every single time, we get boring, right?
Sure, yeah. The thrill would be gone.
And if you never won, pulled it 100 times, nothing.
I'd walk away, assume it's broken.
Exactly. But what keeps people glued to that seat for hours? It's something called intermittent reinforcement. You win sometimes.
Yeah. The random reward.
Precisely.
Right.
Maybe they text you back, but it's 3 hours late. They smile at you today, but ignore you tomorrow. That uncertainty keeps your brain hooked. It's trying to solve a puzzle.
So mixed signals are literally addictive.
And addictive is not just a metaphor. When you look at the neuroscience, it's chemically real.
Okay, so let's get into that. What is happening in my brain when I'm deep in Tin Don Phuong mode?
So your brain's reward network is lighting up. Specifically 2 areas. the ventral tegmental area, the VTA, and the nucleus accumbens.
And these are the areas that pump out
Dopamine.
the famous feel-good chemical?
We call it that, but it's more like the motivation chemical, the craving chemical. It's the engine behind I want.
Okay.
Now, when you're in this loop of uncertainty or you face rejection, those dopamine levels go haywire.
And when you get a hard no?
They plummet. But the craving doesn't just stop. The neurochemical profile of someone going through unrequited love looks incredibly similar to someone in drug withdrawal.
Like, what kind of drug?
Specifically, cocaine or alcohol withdrawal.
No way. That explains so much. You know, when you tell a friend, just get over it, and they look at you like you've asked them to stop breathing.
They physically can't just get over it. They're in dopamine withdrawal. Their brain is screaming for another hit just to feel normal again.
So checking their Instagram isn't just being nosy.
It's a junkie looking for a fix.
That is wild. What about the actual pain? People say my heart hurts. It feels physical.
And the brain scans show that it basically is. This is one of those facts that just blows my mind. There was a study using fMRI scans where they showed people pictures of their exes who had rejected them.
That sounds cruel.
For science. But what they saw was that when the participants felt that social rejection, a part of the brain called the anterior cingulate cortex lit up.
Okay, and what does that part usually do?
It processes physical pain. Like if you break your leg or touch a hot stove, this is the part of your brain that screams, ouch. Something is very wrong.
You're kidding me.
I'm not. To your brain, the distress of they don't love me and I just burned my hand are processed in the very same neural neighborhood.
But why? This seems like a terrible design flaw.
It's all about evolution. As social animals, being rejected from the tribe was a death sentence. You couldn't survive alone.
So our brains evolved to make it hurt.
To make it hurt as much as a physical injury. So you would pay attention and do whatever it took to stay connected to the group. It's a survival mechanism.
So when you're clutching your chest, you're not being dramatic. Your brain is actually in pain mode.
It is. And on top of all that, you've got the stress response kicking in. Unrequited love elevates your cortisol levels.
The stress hormone.
And chronically high cortisol is toxic. It can actually damage the neurons in your hippocampus, which is your memory center.
Is that why it's so hard to focus on work when you're heartbroken? You get that brain fog?
Exactly. Your brain is so flooded with stress hormones and so fixated on the source of the pain, you literally lose the cognitive bandwidth to think about anything else.
Wow. Okay, so biology is brutal. This isn't just a sad song. It's a full-body medical crisis.
It really is.
All right, now I want to get to that wow fact. Because the stereotype, especially in Vietnamese music videos, is always the girl, right? She's the one waiting by the phone crying in the rain.
Right. The cultural narrative is that women are the emotional ones who pine away, and men are stoic and just move along.
And don't cry, all that stuff. So hit us with the science. Is it true?
Statistically, it's completely false. There was a major study on this published in 2013 in the journal Sage Open.
And what did they find?
They found that men experience unrequited love approximately twice as frequently as women.
Twice.
Twice as often, yeah. The numbers were about 3.06 experiences per person for men versus 1.62 for women over the period they studied.
I am genuinely shocked by that. Why? What's the reason?
It basically comes down to the mechanics of dating. The researchers pointed to two things: initiation and selectivity.
Okay, break that down.
So culturally, men are still, for the most part, the initiators. They're expected to make the first move, ask for the number, take the first risk.
So it's a numbers game.
In a way.
Huh.
Men tend to cast a wider net. Women, on the other hand, are generally more selective. Evolutionary psychology suggests they're looking for higher value partners, acting as a sort of gatekeeper.
So because men are asking more often?
They're just hearing no a lot more often. It's simple math. If you're the one constantly putting yourself out there, you're going to face rejection more.
That makes sense. But does it hit them differently? Because again, the stereotype is that men just shrug it off.
That's another misconception. The research suggests that while they experience it more, the emotional fallout can actually be heavier for men in some ways. They often report higher levels of loneliness.
Really?
Why is that? It's about their support network, or lack thereof. Women typically have broader emotional support systems.
Right. We call our friends. We analyze the texts. We have ice cream.
Exactly. For many men, though, their romantic partner is their primary, and sometimes only, emotional support. They don't have that same kind of vulnerability with their male friends.
So when that connection is cut off.
Or never forms in the first place.
Yeah.
They're totally isolated. They have nowhere to put that pain.
That's a really heavy thought. So men are out there chasing more, getting rejected more, and have fewer people to talk to about it.
Precisely.
Wow. Okay, let's talk about the other side of this, because we've been focused on the lover, but there's also the rejector.
The villain of the story.
That's how they're always painted, right? The cold, heartless one. But you found research that kind of flips that script, too.
I did. If you actually look at the psychology of the rejector, it is not a fun place to be. Foundational research by Baumeister and his colleagues in 1993 found that rejectors often report more distress than the person who was rejected.
More distress. How is that even possible? They have all the power.
You'd think so. But it comes down to guilt and something the researchers call the no-script problem.
The no script problem.
Yeah, think about it. We have a million songs like Tin Dan Fong. We have movies, poems, everything telling you how to act when you're heartbroken. You have a script.
It's true. Society gives you permission to be sad.
But what's the script for rejecting someone who's a perfectly nice person, but you just don't feel that way about them?
Oh, right. It's not you, it's me.
And everyone knows that's a lie. So rejectors feel this massive guilt. They're trying to walk this moral tightrope between being kind but not giving false hope.
And if you're too nice, you're leading them on. If you're too direct, you're cruel.
You can't win. You're forced to be the villain in someone else's love story, a story you never asked to be in.
And I bet there's a gender difference there, too.
A huge one. The research showed women worry about rejecting someone for 7 times longer than men do.
7 times.
Yeah. And it's not just guilt. It's about safety.
Uh...
A woman has to calculate. If I say no, will he get angry? Will he get aggressive? Will he stalk me? Men generally don't have to factor physical safety into a romantic rejection.
That's a sobering reality. So the rejector is sitting there feeling anxious, guilty, and sometimes actually afraid.
Exactly. Unrequited love is basically a lose-lose situation. Nobody is having a good time.
Okay, this has been a very depressing deep dive so far.
The science of heartbreak isn't exactly cheerful, I admit.
We need to give people some hope. Valentine's Day is coming. If someone listening is stuck in this limerence loop right now, is there a cure? What can science tell us to do?
There's no magic pill, but there are strategies. The first one is the hardest, but it's the most effective. No contact.
The nuclear option.
It has to be. Remember the addiction analogy. You can't break an addiction if you're still taking microdoses of the drug.
Right. You can't quit smoking if you have 1 cigarette a day.
Exactly. Every time you check their social media or reply to a text, you're giving your brain that little dopamine hit. You're resetting the withdrawal clock. You have to remove the cues.
So, block, delete, mute.
Everything.
Ideally, yes. It feels harsh, but it allows your neurochemistry to actually reset and stabilize.
Okay.
Humor. This is an interesting one. Research shows humor is a really powerful coping mechanism. It's about cognitive reframing.
Like laughing at how pathetic you're being.
Exactly. When you can look at yourself and say, wow, look at me acting like I'm in a music video, it breaks the obsession. It creates distance between you and the pain.
Make memes about your own sadness. Got it.
Honestly, it works. And if we look way into the future, there's some really cutting-edge research on intranasal oxytocin.
Snorting the love hormone.
Essentially, they found that administering oxytocin can actually reduce the neural markers of rejection pain.
So there could literally be a heartbreak pill one day.
It's possible. It's still in the research phase. But the biology suggests we could one day treat heartbreak like we treat a headache.
That is wild. But before we wrap, is there any value in this pain? I mean, we're talking about how to cure it, but should we? That's the experiential view from philosophy. The argument is that loving someone, even unrequitedly, proves something important about your capacity to feel. It shows you can value someone just for who they are.
So the pain is just proof that your heart works.
Exactly. It means you're human.
All right, let's wrap this up. What are the key takeaways from the Deep Dive Lab today?
First, your pain is real. It's chemical.
Yeah.
You aren't crazy. You're in dopamine withdrawal. So be kind to yourself.
Second, let go of the gender stereotypes. Men are out there getting rejected twice as often, and they're often dealing with it alone.
And third, have some empathy for the rejecter. The person saying no is probably struggling with guilt, anxiety, and maybe even fear.
And the big picture is that our brains are wired for connection. Unrequited love is almost like a painful glitch in that beautiful programming.
It's a glitch that creates art and music and growth. And that brings me to a final question for you to think about.
Let's hear it.
We talked about that future heartbreak pill. If you could take it today and instantly erase the pain of Tin Dan Fong, but also erase the depth of feeling that inspired the song, would you take it? Or is the pain part of what makes the love real?
Ooh, that is a tough one. Would we lose the Dan Truong inside all of us? I don't think I'd take it. The scars are part of the story.
Something to think about.
Definitely. Look, thank you for joining us in the Deep Dive Lab. I hope this makes your Valentine's season a little more understandable.
Knowledge is power, even in love.
Absolutely. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe and maybe share this deep dive with a friend who needs to hear it. Tell them it's just dopamine. We'll catch you on the next one.